The Pittsburgh Steelers have officially made their decision at quarterback, and after months of speculation, uncertainty, rumors, and non-stop debate surrounding the future of the franchise, Aaron Rodgers is officially returning to Pittsburgh for the 2026 NFL season. Late Saturday night, the Steelers and Rodgers reportedly agreed to terms on a one-year contract that could be worth as much as $25 million depending on incentives, finally ending one of the longest and most exhausting offseason storylines in football. According to NFL insider Adam Schefter, Rodgers' new contract is expected to include a base salary somewhere between $22 million and $23 million for the 2026 season, with additional incentives capable of pushing the overall value of the deal to approximately $25 million. The agreement officially secures Rodgers as Pittsburgh's starting quarterback moving forward and gives the organization the stability it had been desperately waiting for throughout the offseason. For the Steelers, this signing represents far more than simply bringing back a veteran quarterback. It represents the end of months of uncertainty that had effectively frozen major portions of the organization's offseason planning. Ever since the conclusion of the 2025 season, Pittsburgh had been trapped in a strange holding pattern while Rodgers publicly remained noncommittal about his football future. The Steelers waited patiently while speculation exploded across the league regarding retirement possibilities, contract negotiations, organizational frustration, and even potential alternative landing spots. Now, finally, the waiting is over. And perhaps the most fascinating aspect of the agreement is that it officially reunites Rodgers with head coach Mike McCarthy in Pittsburgh. The relationship between Rodgers and McCarthy remains one of the most discussed quarterback-coach partnerships of the modern NFL era because of everything they accomplished together previously. During their time together with the Green Bay Packers, the duo helped build one of the league's most dangerous offenses while consistently competing deep into the postseason. Despite eventually parting ways in Green Bay, there has always been a belief throughout league circles that mutual respect remained between the two. Now, years later, football has brought them back together again in Pittsburgh. The Steelers clearly believe that familiarity and continuity matter enormously entering a season filled with high expectations. Rodgers already understands McCarthy's offensive philosophy, terminology, and overall approach to the game. That existing relationship should help accelerate offensive preparation heading into training camp and reduce some of the transition issues that often occur when veteran quarterbacks join new systems. And importantly for Pittsburgh, the deal was finalized well before training camp officially begins. That timing matters tremendously. For months, one of the biggest concerns surrounding the Rodgers situation was how long the uncertainty would continue dragging into the offseason. The Steelers desperately needed clarity at quarterback in order to finalize roster decisions, offensive installations, salary cap planning, and overall team preparation. Had negotiations continued much deeper into the summer, the situation could have created serious complications for the coaching staff and front office alike. Instead, Pittsburgh now enters the most important phase of offseason preparation with a confirmed starting quarterback, a finalized direction offensively, and significantly more organizational stability. Of course, Rodgers' path to this point has been one of the most fascinating quarterback journeys in NFL history. Originally selected in the first round of the 2005 NFL Draft by the Green Bay Packers, Rodgers spent the early years of his career developing behind legendary quarterback Brett Favre before eventually becoming the face of the franchise himself. Over time, Rodgers transformed into one of the greatest quarterbacks of his generation, building a resume filled with MVP awards, playoff runs, statistical milestones, and eventually a Super Bowl championship. In 2018, Rodgers signed a massive 4-year contract extension worth approximately $134 million with over $100 million guaranteed, further cementing his status as one of the NFL's premier franchise quarterbacks. Later, in 2022, he agreed to another enormous extension worth roughly $150 million over 3 years, including approximately $101 million guaranteed. At the time, it appeared Rodgers would finish his career in Green Bay. Instead, the NFL delivered another dramatic twist. After one additional season, the Packers traded Rodgers to the New York Jets in a blockbuster deal that included major draft compensation, including a second-round pick in 2023 and a conditional 2024 second-rounder that had the potential to become a first-round selection. The move immediately became one of the biggest stories in professional football because of the expectations surrounding Rodgers' arrival in New York. Unfortunately for the Jets, the experiment quickly turned disastrous. Rodgers suffered a devastating Achilles injury just 4 snaps into the 2023 season during Week 1, instantly ending what had been expected to become a franchise-changing year for New York. The injury created massive questions regarding whether Rodgers would ever truly return to form, considering both the severity of the injury and his age at the time. But Rodgers eventually fought his way back onto the field for the 2024 season and later continued his career in Pittsburgh after the Jets ultimately released him with a June 1 designation following the season. At the time, many people around the league were unsure what Rodgers still had left physically. Questions surrounded his mobility, durability, arm strength, and ability to maintain elite-level performance into his 40s. Yet during the 2025 season with Pittsburgh, Rodgers largely silenced those doubts by delivering an extremely solid campaign statistically while helping stabilize the Steelers' offense. In 16 games during the 2025 season, Rodgers completed 65.7% of his passes for 3,322 yards, 24 touchdowns, and only 7 interceptions. Beyond the numbers themselves, though, Rodgers brought something equally important to Pittsburgh: consistency. The Steelers' offense looked far more composed, organized, and efficient with Rodgers under center compared to previous years following the retirement of Ben Roethlisberger. That stability played a huge role in Pittsburgh's success throughout the season. The Steelers remained competitive in the AFC playoff race largely because Rodgers gave the offense reliable quarterback play, veteran leadership, and the ability to control games situationally. Even at 42 years old, Rodgers still demonstrated elite pre-snap recognition, high-level decision-making, and the ability to manipulate defenses mentally in ways very few quarterbacks ever master. And now Pittsburgh is betting that he still has enough left physically to make another serious run in 2026. The financial structure of the deal also reveals something important about how the Steelers currently view themselves competitively. Committing over $20 million to a 42-year-old quarterback on a 1-year contract is not the type of move rebuilding teams make. It is the type of move organizations make when they believe their roster is capable of competing immediately. That belief appears very real inside Pittsburgh. The Steelers have spent the last several years aggressively rebuilding key portions of the roster, particularly along the offensive and defensive lines. Young talents continue developing throughout the roster, the defense still features major playmakers, and the offensive line suddenly possesses intriguing depth and upside. Bringing Rodgers back signals that Pittsburgh believes the window to compete remains open right now. At the same time, the 1-year structure of the contract remains extremely important strategically. By limiting the commitment to a single season, the Steelers preserve long-term flexibility while still maintaining short-term competitiveness. Pittsburgh can continue evaluating younger quarterbacks, studying future draft classes, and planning for the eventual post-Rodgers era without locking itself into a multi-year financial burden. That balance likely made the agreement attractive for both sides. Rodgers receives another opportunity to compete for a championship while continuing his career on his own terms. The Steelers receive proven veteran quarterback play without sacrificing future flexibility entirely. It is essentially a short-term partnership built around mutual opportunity. Still, the pressure surrounding the 2026 season will now increase dramatically. For months, uncertainty allowed Pittsburgh to avoid certain expectations because nobody fully knew whether Rodgers would actually return. Now there are no more questions. The Steelers officially have their quarterback. The offense officially has its leader. And the organization officially enters the season with expectations of competing seriously within the AFC. The focus will now immediately shift toward how Pittsburgh structures the offense around Rodgers moving forward. There are still fascinating questions regarding the offensive line, the development of younger skill position players, and how the Steelers balance Rodgers' preferences with the broader evolution of the offense under Mike McCarthy. The team also must continue preparing younger quarterbacks behind Rodgers while simultaneously maximizing what could realistically become one of the final seasons of his legendary career. And make no mistake, every season Rodgers continues playing now carries enormous historical significance. At 42 years old, Rodgers remains one of the oldest active starting quarterbacks in professional football, yet he continues producing at a level many younger quarterbacks never reach. Every additional productive season further strengthens his legacy as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Now the next chapter of that career will continue in Pittsburgh. For Steelers fans, the relief surrounding this agreement is probably just as important as the football implications themselves. The endless waiting, speculation, rumors, and uncertainty that dominated the offseason can finally come to an end. The organization has clarity again. Coaches can finalize preparations. Players can fully focus on the upcoming season. The front office can continue shaping the roster with a definitive direction in place. Most importantly, the Steelers officially know who will be leading their offense when the 2026 season begins. After months of suspense, Aaron Rodgers is officially back in Pittsburgh, and now the pressure shifts from waiting for a decision to proving that this partnership can still deliver championship-level football one more time. Comment what you expect from Aaron Rodgers this season with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Thanks for watching and see you soon.